Tuperas y tuperas. Today on Dupe by the River, we're going to look back at two matches. We're going to be looking at that U.S. Open Cup match lost yesterday. We're going to be looking at what was it, the mentality heading into that match. Don't want to miss that. Of course, we're also going to look at last Saturday's late night match against LAFC. You walk away with the point. And of course, it is Red Bull week, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to look ahead with our boys, the EPL boys, helping us out to look at that matchup. And ladies and gentlemen, you do not want to go anywhere. You do not want to miss this episode of Dupe by the River. Let's get this started, guys. Done.
Dupe by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to Dupe by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union. And, of course, we are brought to you by Low Sports Channel. Before we dive into today's episode of Dupe by the River, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching this live on episdoe YouTube channel, please do us a solid, hit that like button, and subscribe for more of all of our live viewings here of Dupe by the River. And, of course, you can catch us now on the Dupe by the River podcast streaming site. Wherever you listen to podcasts, look for Dupe by the River, and make sure you guys subscribe to never miss out on an episode there. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, I am joined today by my main man, Justin El Portero Calvo Friedberg. Justin, what's going on? Listen, Justin, I want to start off by saying this. Happy anniversary, brother. 13 years ago today, the Philadelphia Union were announced and unveiled to the city in City Hall. Dude, we're 13 years young, man. It's a great day. What's going on, brother?
Not much. It's midweek. There's still some soccer on the TV. We get to talk about our team. Some good, some bad. Get to get it all out there and preview. Always exciting game, and certainly a game that has I think a little more at stake this time around.
Absolutely. We got a lot to get to here today. So, Justin, without further ado, let's get straight to it, man. I want to start off, obviously, because this is fresh on our minds, and obviously emotions are running rapid. But last night, the Philadelphia Union, in their U.S. Open Cup debut, fell to Orlando City 2-1. So the dream is over this season. I think I can attest for everyone here at Philly Sports Network, even the boss man himself, Liam Jenkins, we all want the U.S. Open Cup. We all want to win as many trophies as well. But we also do understand that there are certain things that we do need to plan out for. And I'm talking about Jim Curtin and how he handles the season. We have talked about it the last two episodes. 7 matches in this month. 7 matches in 28 days. That's a lot of soccer for anyone. And the way this Philadelphia Union team plays in 2022, it's not about one certain match than another. And obviously, look, Orlando is U.S. Open Cup and LAFC is a regular season match. But you have to go in and win every single match possible, no matter what it is. And this team has built depth through within, and that this is the plan that they have sold to all of us. And for the most part, I feel like all of us have bought into the plan of the Philadelphia Union. I was the first to cheer and show my excitement for seeing these kids because I truly believe in these kids that we have. I think they could have won you a game yesterday. Yeah, Orlando City had some bigger dogs, but guys, more importantly, I really do think that our kids won yesterday because they gained so much valuable lessons in some minutes that they're going to remember going down the line. For me personally, Justin, MLS Cup is the trophy that I really want more than anything else. Of course, we all want U.S. Open Cup. Of course, we want Supporter Shield. But I also understand that I want this team to continue growing within the city, within this league, and I understand what an MLS Cup does to that. So I'm upset that we lost, but I'm also happy that we got guys who got some valuable minutes. And for me personally, like the one thing we do need to remember, Justin, is that everyone's going to have different opinions. I think that with life and in Union Twitter, we need to just start like respecting other people's opinions. I feel like we do lose that from now and then, but I felt like yesterday was not as bad as some may have anticipated. But for you, Justin, what was your thought? And what we're discussing here is the mentality going into yesterday's match. How you feeling, man?
I'm okay. Like I was initially, when it came to this week, I I said it from the very beginning. I said it in the Nashville preview. I in this week, you had 3 games in 7 days. You had to travel what 4,000,
About 4,000 miles.
at least 4,000 miles. You had to travel from Philly to LA, from LA to Orlando, and then Orlando back home.
Not even just that, the Nashville to or Philly to Nashville.
Like you're racking up what that that's at least 7,000 miles real like in 7 days. And I'm sorry for those of you, and I don't like to point fingers. I don't like to call specific people out, and I'm not. But for those who said that the LAFC game was the game that you should rotate, I'm sorry, but that's flat out wrong. And the reason I say that is because, yeah, is the Open Cup the one that we've lost 3 finals and we've had success in? Yes. But the difference is the Union that went to those games, that were competing in those games, that was really their only avenue for a trophy. The Union from 2014, 2015, 2017 is not the same Union today. This is a team that has won a supporter shield, that was a COVID outbreak away from the MLS Cup final, that was in the semifinals of the CCL last year while balancing the league play. I'm sorry, but the league at this point, you're still top of the league. Would I rather they play their full roster against number 1 in the West or Orlando? I'm sorry, but 10 times out of 10, I'm picking LAFC. And realistically, between LAFC, Orlando, and Red Bull, I said Orlando was going to be the game that you were going to have a lot of rotation. Now, did anyone foresee 7 starters rotated? No. But again, it's not like you threw out Union 2 out there. These kids and, Matt Real and Stuart Finley, these are guys that are in the game day squad every game. So I don't know what people were expecting, but these are the players that Jim feels are good enough to warrant selection every week.
It's not just Jim, Justin. We've literally heard fans raving about these kids after what they did in the Eastern Conference Finals to changing their mentality now.
And what? And you're going to complain that these kids are now getting that time? Like,
they almost took it to the MLS Cup, ladies and gentlemen.
And that's the thing. Like, Mac, the idea was Max Bredos, our friend Max Bredos, said it in the broadcast that it's not that Jim Curtin doesn't want to start these kids. It's just insanely difficult to take out the starters that you have because they're playing so well. And to have these kids is a added bonus to throw these kids in. I mean, in that Orlando game, you had the 2 Orlando goals came in about a 10-minute period at the beginning of the second half. The first half, the Union should have had a couple goals. And so I think the kids easily could have won it for you. And yeah, is it a shame to lose this round? Yes. But am I going to lose sleep over it? No. Considering we're still top of the East, we have Red Bull, we have Miami, we have Portland, we have New England this month. Like, I'm sorry, but considering how this year is and considering how condensed the MLS schedule is because of a November/December World Cup, I'm kind of more focused on everything involving the league than the Open Cup. I like the Open Cup, but I don't rate it as, I would say in my list of trophies, it would go MLS Cup, Supporter Shield, Open Cup, and then like Leagues Cup and Campeones Cup. Like it's up there, but it's not above MLS Cup or Supporter Shield.
Yeah, man, we've been fighting so hard for MLS Cup these past couple of seasons, man. That for me, I feel like our focus has to be that. And if we win a U.S. Open Cup, of course, that's great. If we win a Supporter Shield, that's great as well. But dude, I just want the MLS Cup. I don't know why that's such a crazy concept to grasp, but that's kind of where we're at with it. And I do think that as well, if I'm not mistaken, Orlando were going through some injury concerns, and everything just met up, and they were able to play yesterday for Orlando City. So I think they just got lucky as well, getting some of their guys back. And look, it was what it was. And the thing we need to remember as well, it's not like these kids got demolished. Like, it was a close game, and everyone's favorite Stuart Finley got a goal. And that's great as well.
That was a good goal. Like,
Yeah.
admittedly,
Great touch by him too to get that pass down.
He literally, like, the ball comes back in after getting cleared out, and he's wide open in the middle, and he just takes a touch and then just slots it home. And by the way, there were several chances, like Paxton, standing in the middle of three people, threads a ball that
Dude, he looked great, bro.
That Carranza was literally not even a quarter of an inch away, and the goalie had to stare the ball past the post because it still had a pretty good chance. Like,
yeah,
there were some good chances. The Union, like, Gazda again, like within the first 5 minutes, had a ball squared to him, and he just kind of got nothing on it, and it dribbled, and the goalie was able to get behind it. Like, the rotation didn't hurt this team.
Right.
It was just, I mean, listen, Kara's goal was a freaky play because it bounced around and probably could have been cleared. But
dude, that Pereira goal,
that one was, and that too was that one deflected off of Glesnes too, so it took a weirder touch.
But Justin, Matt Freese actually, I felt like he had a good match as well. He had some big saves.
I think that's the thing. He had a good game. Like, I think it's clear that we've seen it. If Andre Blake has to go down for a period of time, Matt Freese can fill in and has
fine with that. Yeah.
So, like, it's not like we can't. Like I said, having Andre Blake is an absolute luxury. Having that quality of a keeper.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, Matt Freese is still a pretty damn good keeper at the end of the day.
For real, man. Yeah, no, that there was a lot of good. I just felt like, I mean, between Paxton Aronson, I do feel like for me, Quinn Sullivan, he's still, every time I watch him more and more, he's a forward. Like, I just want to see him play as a forward, man.
Honestly, I can now understand why the U.S., the youth system uses him as a forward, because I don't know if you saw, but there were a lot of moments where he created his own space. He would literally, he looked like he was going to turn back the other way up the field, and then quickly, and all the Orlando players would give him like 5 yards, and then he would turn and boom, hit the space that was just vacated by those players, and he set up a few chances that way. And honestly, I'm curious if Jim is going to start throwing him more as a second forward, because it really. I'm going to be honest. Corey Burke has been bad lately. Like, look, the Orlando match, I love Corey, but man, it was glaringly apparent that, and it's kind of why I said in the offseason, his spot in the rotation is probably number 4, and he was the player who out of the 4, I thought he could have gotten claimed by Charlotte, could have gotten traded to another MLS team. I love Corey, but I think it is feeling like with the limited time he's getting, the misses and the bad touches and there's a lot of it's becoming more glaringly obvious, and
we're just gearing up to sell him to Cincinnati, man. They're gonna throw us a nice $2 million transfer fee because they're gonna cover him because he's a Union.
Don't worry, we'll trade him for Brandon Vasquez. They'll give him a cut to us for a cut rate deal, right? They're known for making bad deals.
Look, here's my theory. Oh, I do not think he should be playing as a forward. He should not be up top alone. I do, however, felt like he played better yesterday than what I saw against LA. I really was disappointed, and we'll get to it more when we get to that match. But I was disappointed how he did not use his physicality, where I felt like he did yesterday. That run he had in that first half where I forget the Orlando's central defensive midfielder, number 5, was Araujo or something, the Uruguayan. But he just
Araujo.
Yeah, Araujo. He just absolutely tackled him, but that was like such a strong run. That's what I'm talking about. Like Corey is a physical presence on the pitch. I feel like he just needs to use that more often. But listen. I'm not saying he is a glorified starting striker. He needs to be starting every match, but I do think he's a solid bench piece, and I thought that Jim handled it the right way. He only played 60 minutes, and that's when you saw Sergio Santos come in, and obviously Carranza came in as well as in that match too. But Corey to me is fine as a bench piece. But yeah, so we're out of the U.S. Open Cup dream is over, guys, and it's okay. We move on to our regular season now with the MLS, and of course we got Leagues Cup a little bit later. But Justin, let's move to the LAFC match. Obviously Saturday night, a late one. That was our last MLS match that we had. A 2-2 draw against LAFC. A bunch of fireworks. Another exciting match as well. You know the quality between both of these. And we were just excited to see the best in the East versus the best in the West. And I'll be honest, I think we got everything that we could definitely bargain for. But this was a match where number one, had the same starting lineup, except that obviously we all know what's been going on with Mikel Ua and his quad situation. And of course, it's still sore, and that's been the main concern for Philadelphia Union. Is we saw this quad injury before, and he's still bothering him. And so for this match here against LAFC, we had the same usual suspects. Andre Blake, the same back line. You had the same midfield, and then of course instead of Mikel Ua, we had ourselves blanking Corey Burke as the other forward for match Saturday. So to start it off, the Union definitely were putting the foot on the gas pedal. LA definitely had some nice opportunities as well, but in that 9th minute, you had Julian Carranza making a great run up the central of the pitch, finding Kai Wagner out wide open in the outlet. He makes a nice cross in. Leon Flock could not get it, but in the back post, and who else but Daniel Gazdak there to just bury that bad boy past Crepeau, the early 1 lead for the Philadelphia Union. And this was a somewhat of a shootout, as you had Apoko in the beginning of the first half getting himself on the board. He finds himself open. Jack Elliott in a bad spot there, and he just buries it past Andre Blake. Not much that he can do there. And LAFC would tie this up 1-1. In the 67th minute, I think I'm going to put my ballot for goal of the season for the Philadelphia Union. Julian Carranza gets this ball from Daniel Gazdak right outside the box. And ladies and gentlemen, as he's falling, he curls his bad boy, and Crepeau again could not do anything. And it was an absolutely crazy banger type of goal. And the Union would go up 2-1 just like that. Now all we have here is 23 minutes. You just got to 30 minutes. 3 minutes. You just got to close this bad boy out. That's all you got to do. Unfortunately, however, in the 82nd minute, off of a corner kick, and that's going to be a story of tonight of that match as well. Frankie Escobar off of a rebound from Andre Blake buries it past him, and LAFC would tie it up there 2-2. And 9 minutes left in this match. Not much the Union could do there, and the Philadelphia Union would walk out with a point. 3 straight MLS matches with a point. So look, this is what I want to start off by saying. I definitely did feel that on Saturday night, the Union were the better of the two teams through 90 minutes. And that's just something that's happened sometimes. However, though, we just discussed all the travel they have been doing over the past couple matches to walk into LA, and back of California was rocking again, as it always does. Right. And the Union to walk out with a point, to me, is definitely a dub. However, though, what I will not just keep relying on 1-point matches continuously. At some point, you have to be able to get the job done. This is now another match where they held the lead and they disappear. You have to be able to close out some of these matches. It's okay because it's still early. And by the way, you are still in first place of the Eastern Conference, but you need to at some point put together a win here and there. That's all we definitely ask for. And again, this is a match where it felt like you were the better of the two, and they walk away with the point. Justin, your thoughts on Saturday night?
Listen, you first of all, I will fully out in all honesty come in and admit I fell asleep before the game started. I listen, it was the same way. The only difference between this game and the game in 2020 was that at least in 2020 I watched part of the first half. On Saturday, I think I was in bed by 9:30.
My
And
man.
I woke up right around the Carranza goal. So I got to watch at least the last 25 minutes. And then obviously I watched the highlights and kind of did a little, digging there. And what I'll say is, could they have won? Yes. Is a point against the top team in the West who, despite having a bunch of players injured, are still an insanely dangerous squad. And in fact, I think more dangerous than they've been even since the supporter shield winning side. Like, yeah, absolutely. I think arguably they are the team to beat in the West. 100%. Without a doubt. They are it. And to start, Gazdag hitting another goal, which I don't know, and people really didn't notice as much, but you mentioned it, and it won't go on the stat sheet, but Leon Flock pushing the back line, he forced defenders to commit to him, and that left Gosdag wide open on the back post. That kind of run, as much as we said that Leon's kind of been struggling a little bit on the offensive side, the runs that he brings are absolutely vital. And I think that helped with that goal. The Opoku goal, I think Jack misplayed that a little in the initial run. Andre, not much you can do, was caught kind of leaning. But that one, it was blasted right by his head. Those are always the toughest saves to make as a goalie. I can't blame him on that one. The Carranza goal, holy shit. Like, standing, falling backwards, has the composure to just, like, faintest of touches. Did not put a lot on that thing, but holy shit, did that thing have some swirl. And Crepeau had no shot. I mean, there's no goalie in the world stopping that one. And yeah, you're up 2-1, and oh my God, it's going to happen. And you know what? Is it unfortunate that Franco Escobar follows up on that rebound? Yeah, I mean, Andre plays that wide, but for Escobar is in the right position to blast that home. And Andre still gets a piece of it. It's just he's kind of leaning back, and at that point, I don't know if there's a lot you can do there. You know what? At the end of the day, again, you went toe-to-toe with the top team, and I think arguably the team that, who knows, it could be a rematch in the MLS Cup final. I think you would have gotten 3 points, but I have absolutely no problem with a draw there. And this was absolutely the game that Jim, as he said, needed to attack, needed to bring out that full strength roster. And boy, howdy, did the Union throw their punches, throw their weight. And I will give all the credit in the world to Steve Cherundolo. He, as a first-year head coach, last year he was coaching in the USL Championship for the Las Vegas Lights. He's pushing all the right buttons. The LAFC are no joke. They're doing what I think a lot of teams are doing now. They're bringing in veterans. I mean, they signed Ilie Sanchez, who I'm still amazed KC kind of just let walk. You traded for Ryan Hollingshead, who is a versatile wingback / winger. Trading for Kellen Acosta is massive. I mean, that is a huge deal. Franco Escobar, another one that was on loan last year in Argentina from Atlanta. essentially is deemed surplus. Opoku was rarely got time last year. Danny Musovsky is still getting time. Carlos Vela is now getting back to Carlos Vela form. I'm sorry, but getting a point against that team in that stadium with as rocking as it is and has been and always really is, I have no problem with that. That was the more important game. That was the game that you needed to focus on. And at the end of the day, you're still top of the East. Like as I've said, as I've always kind of said, your home games are the ones you really should be pulling out all 3 points. The road games, at bare minimum, you should be trying for a draw, and stealing 3 points is always nice, depending on where it is. Like, if we're going to say, I would say FC Cincinnati in prior years, but DC United. DC United, okay, I might expect 3 points because they're not playing great. But if we're going to New England, yeah, New England's a bit tougher of a team to face on the road.
Right.
Or and NYCFC, like the fact that we got a win there was amazing.
First time
it happened. Like you can see that's at the end of the day, points are points. Like we all joked about Nashville last year, but they still finished third in the East with how many draws they had. Like, sometimes a point is all you need.
That is so true. So one thing I want to talk about is those set pieces. We talked when we were in the preview with Max Bredos. He mentioned that like set pieces are a big thing for LAFC. But Justin, 14 corners? Like no wonder why they got a goal. Like and there was so many of those corners where it's like, oh my god, like you're just squeamish and you're just like waiting for something bad to happen. And that was a tough one. It deflects off of Andre. Andre's not always gonna be able to catch those, especially such close range. And Franco Escobar was in the right spot, man.
Yeah, like 14 corners, and they score on one in a corner where, let's be honest, I think Franco Escobar got a pretty good touch. Like it was a good save from Andre, and he was just in the right spot. Like, as you always say, like, a bounce here, a bounce there, a half second here, a half second there. There's not a lot you can do. So the fact that LAFC's strength are set pieces, and they only converted on one, I mean, I'd say 1 out of 14's not a bad.
But I'd never seen it. So like what? Like, do you think like the focus in training? It's like, how do we force as many corners as possible? How do we get these deflections? Like, is that like an actual tactical thing that they like? How do you get that many corners? And like this is a thing that they constantly do.
I think it's you can obviously train for set pieces, and you can do a lot of maneuvering and planning, but I don't think anyone goes into a game and goes, yeah, we're gonna get 14 corners and score at least one of them. Like, I don't think you're gonna plan for 14 corners. So I think that's a tough one to go. Yeah, you know what? Like, we're doing, we're gonna get that many set pieces that eventually we're gonna score one of them. I can't, like, no one can game plan for that. It's just crazy.
It was absolutely wild to see all that many corners. Just another bit of concern we need to discuss. Mikel Uwa. Now he missed Saturday, and I'm assuming that he wasn't available for yesterday because we're still trying to nurse this quad situation. Are you concerned whatsoever about this injury with Mikel?
I think I'd be crazy not to be at least a little concerned, but at the same time, and I know we talk about this, but his first season, coming off of playing half a season in Denmark, interrupted visa process, not really getting a preseason, playing in the Montreal game, which caused the injury. I think, I mean, he got a decent amount of minutes when he was getting starts, and he was getting a decent amount of minutes in those games. I think even if it's precautionary, I think Jim looks at this month and goes, listen, I think the team can go to LA and get a result without Mikhail. And if if him being healthy enough to start at home or play at home is something that it happens and can risk for him playing, not playing in LA, I think at this point in the season you can gamble on that. And even if he doesn't play this weekend, you have a game against Miami on Wednesday. You have a game the following weekend against Portland. You have a game the following weekend against New England. Like, you still have games coming up. They're coming fast and furious. It's just one of those things that you got to be smart about it, and you don't want to burn him out this early in the season because you're going to need him towards the end of the season.
Absolutely, man. One last point on LAFC, man. So Daniel Gazak was named to Team of the Week again, and for the MLSR All 11. Dude, he's on a tear. And we were talking before air. He's got 5 goals already through this season. Now the record is 17. To break the record, it is 17 goals this season. CJ Sapong's got 16. Dude, like, is it it's a little crazy for me to start thinking about that?
I think I said it. I think him or Carranza one of them could easily surpass 16 goals. And I'm amazed at this point in the season that Gazdag, with 5 goals and 2 or 3 assists, 2 goals off the Golden Boot, Golden Boot 7 goals right now. The kind of disrespect that Daniel Gazdag is getting, not so much from the Philly fans or from the Philly media, from the national media.
Wow, it's like I've heard this before in a different conversation.
Like, every time, like, I'm reading, articles, whether it's the power rankings or, the recaps of the week or about the Union, it's like, well, I'm still not sure if Gazdag really is the guy. It's like, what more does he have to have a hat trick every other game to cement himself as like? He is the goal scoring 10 that this team has not had.
Let me real quick. Do you know how many how many goals he had in his MVP campaign?
I don't even think it was above 10.
That's got to be like the standard right now, right? Because obviously we're talking about 10s winning MVPs.
Because he had like 16 or 17 assists, but I'm pretty sure he had under 10 goals.
All right, so in MLS play alone, he had 14 assists with 4 goals in 2021.
Yeah, like, the assists are what carried his, besides
right.
besides the fact that, they won the Supporter Shield by a crazy amount, it was the fact that he had all the assists. He didn't have many goals. And typically, goals are usually what helps the MVP case.
This is wild, dude. This is freaking wild. Because we have a guy who can thread the needle with his passes, but last year he had more goals and assists, and this year it's trending to be the same way, which is crazy, Justin.
I have no problem with that because you have so many other players that can provide assists. You literally have outside backs that can swing the balls in. You have a striker that strikers that can take it on themselves. I think, you know what? If you have a 10 that's just going to start banging in goals at this kind of a rate, have at it. Have at it, Daniel. Damn, Daniel.
Back at it again with another goal. I love it. We're going to have to get that on T-shirts, man. Awesome stuff. All right. Well, listen, Justin, I don't ever have to get you excited for anything. Real quick. Samuel, 22, I guess he's a Montreal fan. Orlando got crushed 4-1 Saturday and focused more on U.S. Open Cup. Look, I can't blame. Everyone's got their own way of dealing with it. I think the Union's mentality was the fact that they knew. And Justin, I forgot to mention this too. Before the season started, I literally told everybody that U.S. Open Cup was going to be a time to see the kids. I literally said it in all the preview shows. Like, it's not a bad thing what they did. Like, you have to trust those kids. And if Orlando wants to get crushed 4-1 and try to risk positioning in the table, that's on them. That really is. But it was still a close game. It really was. So, but look, there's no need to get. I don't need to tell you how to get excited, man. This is Red Bull Week, right? And this one, it's been a while, Justin, since it's actually meant something like this. This is potentially going to be for first in the East. Right now, the Union are 19, Red Bull are 18. So essentially, whoever wins will get the early knock for first place. And that's definitely big here. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a lot of fun. Again, we've had these guys on before, but they look a little bit different here today. So we're going to welcome our Europa League managers here to our preview of the Red Bull match.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
And we got the EPL boys in the building. This is such a great reunion again. Gentlemen, first off, you guys look both great. I like the new looks. I think JD's got a shorter haircut from the last time we saw him. And Matt, this stash, I love it. I absolutely love it. What's going on, guys?
It's great to be back. I look forward to this call twice a year where it's
your call up.
I don't have to look far. I just see the Union are coming up, and I just stare at my phone and I wait for Justin's text.
As the text I got was, I've been waiting. Swivels in chair.
Yes.
And my disappointment is that Matt will not be at the game. I will be at the game.
Listen, I literally texted Matt, are you going to be there? No. And I'm like, listen, I'm making the effort to go up to Harrison in September, Matt. So I feel a little slighted.
I'm going to Harrison to see the New York Red Bulls versus NYCFC in July. Like, I'm going out of my way to not even see the Union, but go see the Red Bulls to see Matt. And he's not even going to come to this game. I'm so
I feel hurt. I thought what we had was special, Matt.
Oh.
Matt's like Levy and Bizer, and everyone's just attacking him.
I'm just sitting here just like, okay, well, all day I disappoint people. I might as well disappoint people on this
lose
pod.
A tooth.
Lose a little chiclet.
I'm just going to talk like this for the rest of the episode.
In that tournament that the Red Bulls will never be in.
Oh.
Well, it's good to see that JD and Matt haven't killed each other yet.
Honestly, it pays that we are in separate locations, because I'm pretty sure if we did record by like twice a week, every week, I'm pretty sure one of us would have tried to take a swing. And
no, not really, because when we talk about Liverpool and Manchester United, we're so far apart that it's not even like we're neck and neck. Like,
leave me alone, okay? Leave me alone.
Yeah, listen, JD.
I came on an MLS podcast to talk about my kind of good MLS team, and I don't want to talk about Manchester United right now.
JD and Matt, obviously we're all soccer people, so their version of fighting is getting each other's faces. And the minute that Matt's nose touches JD's nose, JD just falls, and he's just like, give him a card.
Hey, my name is not Mohamed Salah, but or Castellanos on NYCFC.
Hey now. Well, it's tough for me now because obviously Liverpool have probably the best Colombian player in 2022, and it's hard to watch for myself. But Lucho Diaz, man, please take care of him, please.
Hey, do you think Klopp won't? He will. He already has.
Perfect for that system too.
Already described. He hands down, at least in the Premier League, possibly around the world, at least if you're talking about Europe's top 5 leagues, he might go down as signing of the season, because he has perfectly fit in that system. And I think he has, especially if you're looking at Champions League, he's given Liverpool that little extra that have seen them go on to the final. So I know, because you can't replace Mane and you can't replace Salah, but having someone like Luis Diaz come off the bench every single game.
That's wild.
Hey.
No, come on, Matt. We know that the signing of the offseason is Julian Carranza. Let's not get it twisted.
Okay, let's
steal the world.
Let's all calm down.
Caden Clark could never.
How is Caden doing, by the way, Matt?
Still somewhere in the depths of Harrison of Red Bull Arena.
I got an opinion, and it's not a popular one, but yeah. Honestly, I'm pretty sure Caden Clark is devastated seeing what happened with Tyler Adams, going at a young age, going to Leipzig and making an instant impact.
Or Brendan Harrison and going, I could have been that.
Yeah, of
Even
course, of course.
Mark McKenzie playing regularly for Genk.
I just think the jump, in my opinion, I think the jump from Red Bull to Red Bull Leipzig was a little bit much. I would have liked to have seen Clark go from Leipzig to like Salzburg. I think that would have been more of a more understandable reach. Going to Leipzig, especially because when Tyler Adams went to Leipzig, they had a lot of missing pieces in that lineup, including one in the CDM spot. Clark is someone who plays central attacking, and Chris Nkunku is one of the most informed center attacking midfielders in world football right now. You are not going to overplay him, as well as you have Forsberg and you have other people in that Leipzig squad. Caden Clark was never going to find a home. The best chance he would have had is just been like on the edge rotation squad player. I think it is really good that he came back to Red Bull as a lone player, but the issue is he's been, dealing with an injury all season and hasn't even been in the lineup once this year. So we're going to have to see what happens.
Yeah, that was kind of they signed Soboslai and they have Forsberg and they have Nkunku, and it's like, did it really feel like a great move for him career-wise?
And just remember, it's Red Bull. It's like kind of like they just take money out of their left pocket and just put it in the right pocket, and they call it a transfer. I mean,
God, I say the same thing. I'm like, you don't have to be an accountant like me to understand that it's literally just that, taking money, $20 out of your right pocket and going, oh, look, I gave myself $20. Just, no, it's.
Matt, it's funny that you say this because I found a TikToker. They do an Austrian soccer podcast, or Australian soccer podcast. And so they were talking about I think Red Bull's looking to buy one of the teams in the Australian soccer league, the top flight.
Yeah.
So they were weighing in the pros and the cons, and I think overwhelmingly the host of the podcast agreed that they would want to see the Red Bull system in Australia. And I was just like, I don't know. From afar, I don't like it per se. I wouldn't want it for my team personally.
Who has more teams and more continents, City Group or Red Bull Group?
Oh, that's a good. That's a good question.
I think you're trying to get one on. Listen, which team has a team in Africa? Which team has a team in? I mean, this is Oceania.
I mean, that's eventually what's going to happen. Eventually, Red Bull, City Group, is it not, I guess, I mean, if you're talking about it from a business point of view, is it not exactly what you want is to have your hand in every single major league around the world where having, again, because you see what happens in Germany, you physically cannot advertise something in your name. So they just get away with calling it, I don't know the exact German term, I keep forgetting, but they literally, RB is not.
It's Rasenballsport Leipzig.
Exactly, but no one will ever call it that. You even call it on TV, they call it RB Leipzig, and they have Red Bull logos all over their jerseys. It's a walking advertisement that people are willing to pay $90 at a time to wear. I mean,
hey, they're an Austrian company. Like, for this being a global brand, they're an Austrian company. So it's like, hey, I guess it kind of tracks, but hey, it's who's a race to be a bigger brand, even though like Manchester United and Liverpool are both singular clubs, and yet they're much bigger brands than.
Well, I mean, I know JD wants to say something, but I mean, I look at it from the point of view. You look at the Glazers; they own the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You have the Fenway Group, who owns, the Boston
Mr.
Red
Khan in
Sox.
Jacksonville.
Yeah. So, what's up, JD?
There was once, and I say once because it was from 2008 to 2013, a Red Bull Ghana.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
I just looked it up. I looked up how many Red Bull soccer teams are there, and from 2008 to 2013, Red Bull Ghana.
Justin, Sugarman is also going to do the same thing. We're going to do Keystone Soccer. We're going to be global. We're going to get a club in Italy, a club in Africa as well, South America. So we're going to be doing the same thing, man.
Listen,
Keystone everywhere.
Let Jay Sugarman pave his parking lot first.
Those what was it? The Union like U14s went down like Brazil or something a couple months ago and slapped them like 10-0.
Listen, the Elsinho, it's the day when the Elsinho U13s finally make it through, and we can face an all Elsinho 11 against Red Bull, and we can make every player look silly, just like Elsinho made Connor Lade look silly.
Okay. God,
is he, by the way?
Connor Lade is now, well, he retired, but now he's basically like.
Was it because of Elsinho?
Well, that was happened to be his final game, but leave little Connor Lade alone. He tried. No, Connor. Funny enough, every time I bump into Connor, Connor recognizes me now, so it's like, oh, cool, I know you. But yeah, Connor Lade is he's a part of the player relations now. So basically, whenever the Red Bull do anything promotional on like social media or something like that, he's the one doing the interview or the one leading the video. Here's the thing. He's a guy who spent his entire career with the Red Bull, and it's kind of like, hey, we got you for the back end of your career. But I don't know what to tell my kids when I take them to a Red Bull game against the Philadelphia Union like 15 years from now. And they just go, hey, Dad, who's this guy on the Philadelphia Union? His name is Ilsinho Jr. And I just start getting weird, horrible war flashbacks.
We don't ever say his name ever.
Well, it'll be Ilsinho Jr.
In 15 years?
Ilsinho the third.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay,
It was already Ilsinho Jr.
All right, well,
That is true. Ilsan Jr.
You know, the funniest thing about that moment is like, I think my discovery when I found out that Connor Lade was married to someone that was in my accounting class all 4 years of high school, and as soon as I screamed, I was like, "Hey, Connor, I went to high school with your wife," and he just goes, and like in his head was like, "Oh yeah, we're in the tri-state area." Like,
that's like he's thinking in his head. That is the weirdest insult / compliment / I don't know.
That's not even an insult. That's just weird.
it's just like, okay, yeah, like I just gotta throw someone off for just a bit.
There you go. There's your Connor Lade story.
Yeah,
Matt, I've been looking forward to talking to you because I do have a lot of questions.
And I
What is
hopefully will
going-
have answers.
What's going on in North Jersey? Y'all are pretty good this season. So what's the difference between last year to this
not in
year?
North Jersey. Not in North Jersey. Haven't you seen they have to. They're the NYCFC of New Jersey. They can't play well in their own. Well, they don't play in a baseball stadium.
They also can't fill it, but that's another story.
Oh.
Rest in peace. So funny enough, what's been popping around the group chats recently is our preseason grade and how the Red Bull are expected to do as of ESPN, which, by the way, ESPN always top when it comes to their soccer content, giving the Red Bulls a D and saying that they would be lucky to even hover around the playoff line. You guys did a really good job. But yeah, actually, no, I'm not going to lie to you. This entire season's been just weird for us because we knew going in that it would be the second year for Gerhard Struber, which we knew his systems were starting to really pick up. We went on that really late season run, and we knew that that would build some form of momentum going into this upcoming season. Key re-signings, bringing back Carlos Coronel on a permanent deal. He easily, in my opinion, got snubbed. I'm not saying he should have been goalie of the season, but the fact that he wasn't even in the finalists for goal of the season, he did finish level with clean sheets.
Definitely helps to learn from Andre Blake too.
Yeah. Oh, hey. I'm not taking anything away from Andre Blake. I love Andre Blake. But yeah, bringing him back was really massive, as well as Aaron Long coming back from injury was huge. That's basically a new signing because we lost him. Again, a lot of people forget. We lost him in like the second or third game of the season. And that completely throws you off when you have your most senior defender out all year with an injury. Cleaning up, you also have, like I said, you had John Tolkien really growing into his own. He has become an absolute force going down the left-hand side of whether we play a back four or back five. Bringing Tom Edwards back as well as Sean Nealis and Dylan Nealis, bringing in the other Nealis brother, really locking down the defense. Honestly, all defensive questions have been answered. Going into this last week, the Red Bull actually led the MLS in defensive headers and clearances. So that's something that's huge. Basically, if the ball is thrown into our defensive third, our guys get it 9 times out of 10. And that's a really, really solid thing to have. And then as well, just, getting some, locking down some key signings in the midfield, bringing in Luquinhas, who has been an absolute breath of fresh air for this club. Literally filling the holes where Kaku used to be. A lot of people forget Kaku was such a huge yeah, thank you. Okay. I say the same thing too. When people say Kaku, I go, you mean Kaká? No, Kaku? No, I've never heard of him.
The guy that's technically your player, but signed a new deal and got the fuck out of New York / New Jersey.
Just imagine hating your job so much that you just got up and left, and yet was like, "Oh yeah, I don't know what you are. Like I've never been there before."
New phone, new disc.
Basically, but I think the Red Bull might still fight. I think that hasn't been dropped. I think the Red Bull still are owed some form of compensation for that. So a small check might be coming. I can't imagine it's going to be anything massive. But
it's like a Ben Simmons situation.
Yeah, but that's oh my god. You guys dropped a 6'10", 265-pound weight off your shoulders getting rid of him. I'll tell you that. Yeah, who's still in the playoffs? Who's not? That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, outside of that, bringing back Patrick Kamal, of course, he looks outside of the injuries that he seems to continue to pick up. He seems to have become a little bit of a solid option, as well as bringing in Ashley Fletcher from Watford, who, again, gives you just something a little bit different from the striker position. What's nice is, and I mean, I guess I'll describe it as we go into it, the Red Bull have depth at every single position for the first time since about the 2018-2017 season, where they made the Supporter Shield run. Basically, if someone goes down, someone can pick up and the quality doesn't drop as much as it used to. Like now we actually have pieces along the board. And unfortunately, as I say that, I'm sitting here patiently biting my tongue because Aaron Long went down with an injury. It seems to be his Achilles. It said some tightness. Don't know if he'll be back for Saturday, but I think it's the exact same leg that he had the injury on last year, and I would not be surprised if he didn't make it. But what's nice is with this Red Bull side, you have a team they brought a lot of guys back, and they brought certain guys up from RB2 up to help fill those gaps on the bench, and it's the same system. Everything seems to be going, and guys, I don't know how to tell you that we're this season, when not playing at Red Bull Arena, we're 7-0-0 in all competitions and yet have not won a game at home. I don't know how it is. There's officially a petition going around fans to just forego all of our home games and play them at neutral sites.
I mean, it feels like that every home game because there's only like 300 people in the stadium.
Quick question. I'm sorry. Can I curse on this podcast?
Yeah,
Shut the fuck up, JD. Shut the fuck up. Okay?
Fuck you, man.
Shut the fuck up.
See, this is the kind of shit that you don't get on other Union podcasts.
Leave me alone with my 10,000 closest friends. Excuse me if we have a 20,000 seat stadium. Okay? Leave me alone.
Well. as he sips on his tea, JD, it's been a while since we talked to you, my man. So, I want to get your perspective of the Union. What have you seen so far throughout the season? What are your thoughts?
I think Daniel Gazdag in his second full season is going to be one of the players of the season. I think the way the Union run the diamond formation, which is not very common, really, in world football. I mean, maybe somewhat in the MLS, but really in world football, like the diamond formation, you just don't see it that often. And when a team can exploit that, when they can do it well, I think it works. So like with the Union, with Daniel Gazdag, you get so much out of him where he's basically playing as a striker half the time. And he was good last season, but he's even better this season. And I think bringing in Ua, if he can stay fit, I mean, which I'm not saying he can't. I just, he's only played a couple games and he's injured. So if he can stay fit, he's looked good with his pace. But the fact that bringing in Ua means you can bring off the bench Sergio Santos or Corey Burke, it's just insane. Like the Union haven't had this plethora of depth ever. They just haven't. So like the fact that Nathan Harriel has been making the strides he has been, where if he gets injured, we have Olivier Mbazu, who I think is still a really good player. I really do. I think it's I think he's unfortunate that there's a young player that is better than him. And you talk about the kids, Paxton Aronson, Quinn Sullivan. Like I mean, it's incredible the depth that the Union have. So that's my biggest takeaway of the Union right now is the depth that they actually have. And in the way Jim Curtin runs the diamond formation, it's so important that these players train for that, because it's tough to bring players in where they're not used to that kind of formation, and the Union have done really well with their recruitment. So I thought it was a mistake to let Montero go. I thought it was a mistake to let Shavilko go, but I mean, I didn't think they could replace him in the short term. So I'm pleasantly surprised.
In Ernst we trust. In Ernst we definitely trust.
Yeah.
No, and it's funny because obviously Matt brought up the depth that Red Bull have had, but you've had depth for ever since I've started covering this team in 2019. We've always had depth, and that's like the one thing they always try to pull their back on there. And it's definitely a big part of it as well. I mean, when you have rotation, obviously we just had the controversy this week about Tuesday night, but when you have that rotation, definitely it is very important. It's definitely big as well. All right, so I want to get some lineup predictions, and Matt, obviously we do not know too much about Red Bull and how they've been lining up. So what have been the tactics like this season for Red Bull, and what do you think the lineup will be?
So the Red Bull, I mean, it's funny because the last time I came on here, we kept exchanging similarities because the Red Bull and the Union would line up identical. They would almost run, like I said, with the diamond with the two strikers. But
you know what Bob Bradley says? Union soccer is just another Red Bull system.
Yeah, I just hey, you know what? And if anyone likes Bob Bradley, it's JD right here. Okay, JD's a big Bob Bradley guy.
We did a Manchester United rebuild a couple weeks ago, and I chose Bob Bradley as my new manager at Manchester United just to piss off Matt.
I do have to ask, wasn't Bob a Metro Stars coach at one point?
Yeah, I think he was through the system. I don't remember if he was a head coach, but I think he was in the system at one point. I mean,
what team hasn't he ruined?
Chicago Fire was.
Yeah, Mike. I know Michael Bradley was a Metro Star at one point.
Oh God, Michael Bradley.
He had hair back then too.
Oh God,
yeah, a little shed going on.
Always an embarrassment to us balds. We don't speak about it.
Just yeah. But I hate Michael Bradley so fucking much. Like I'm talking about, like, I think JD and I had literally a list not too long ago of like the 5 players who you would stop rooting for your team if they ever ended up on your team. And I think Michael Bradley was number 2. I think if Michael Bradley ever came back, check on me, guys. Okay, I need you to physically check on my well-being because I'm not doing good.
Number 1 and 2 were both from Toronto. It was Josie Altidore and Bob Bradley. I'm pretty sure.
I don't want.
You know what's funny? Like
or Red Bulls, or
like a number of years ago, it was like, okay, Josie, maybe, and then it's like now it's like I don't want him anywhere near this.
I'm pretty sure Giazzi Zardes was definitely in the top 5. I don't remember.
God,
but he was definitely there.
Oh God, not even with a 10-foot pole.
Pray for your boy. Honestly, guys, for the Red Bull lineup, it's going to come down to just, again, you guys did bring it up. You guys rested a lot of your usual starters for your U.S. Open Cup game, as JD and I like to call it, the greatest competition in world football.
The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup.
Yep.
The oldest competition in the world.
It's
greatest tournament in the world.
Can Messi and Ronaldo really call themselves the best if they haven't done it on a cold Tuesday night in Harrison?
No, they can't.
Because all Higuain can't do it on a rainy night in Chester.
He could sky a penalty.
Okay,
that's
all right.
for sure.
Yeah, Gonzalo Higuain can't do it, period. Like, you don't have to continue that. You could just say
Carranza can.
Miami, period.
Just, oh my God, what a regret that signing is going to end up being. But on the Red Bull, I think from the way they've lined up, even playing against Hartford last week in this competition, or 2 weeks ago in this competition, they put a very serious lineup. They put the usual guys out there. So for what that's telling me is Struber is really taking the U.S. Open Cup seriously. And unfortunately, I think he understands that things like this are going to happen where you're going to have shorter weeks against really good opponents. And I think he's going to do whatever he can. Of course, again, you have a couple injuries you kind of have to keep an eye on. I don't know what Aaron Long, they might not even test him. They might wait because we have another midweek game the Wednesday after this week, and that's a much more winnable game against last place Chicago. So I wonder if they'll just save him for that game because maybe they'll think it's a little easier. If I had to guess, they'll probably be playing a back four instead of a back five, just because of the way the Union set up, and kind of inverted wingbacks kind of don't work in or going up against the way the Union play. So I'm assuming they're going to go with a back four. They're going to have Coronel in net. I really can't imagine anything else. You'll have Tolkien. You'll have Sean Nealis. You're most likely going to have Tom Edwards if he is available as well. He did not play in the U.S. Open Cup game. And then you're most likely going to have Dylan Nealis. So you don't have to worry about Dylan Nealis going forward. He is built like a center back, just a little bit faster. He won't go forward, but he basically is a roaming third center back there. So there might be times where John Tolkien might push forward, but I can't imagine he's going to be forward too much in this game. They're probably going to rely on a heavy amount of midfield action. They're going to start Luquinhas. They're going to start Lewis Morgan. They're going to start probably Christian Caceres Jr., as well as Frankie Amaya leads the MLS in tackles. Yeah, like that baffled to this moment. That still baffles my mind that this guy
Holy
has.
shit, that's a wow.
And
Took it from El Brujo.
But you know what? He's been a breath of fresh air. He's finally, it looks like, completely adapted with the Red Bull system. So I could see either Frankie Amaya or Fernandez both getting the lineup. And then as well, the way they like to play the high press. And so unfortunately, Patrick Kamal has missed the last few games due to COVID safety protocol. I believe he will be available for this game. Will he play? I don't know. Tom Barlow has been good these past few weeks, not scoring goals, but definitely someone who will run and press you for 90 minutes, which is kind of what the system provides. The Red Bull are currently, I think, dead last in possession in the MLS this season. Like it's crazy when I think, like, going into the last MLS game against Chicago, I think it was Chicago. It was after the Chicago game where the Red Bull were averaging like 36% possession. And it's like, it's kind of crazy that they're still up there in the league in goals. They score all of their goals, making you make the mistake, hitting you on the press, and using their speed and good passing to open up windows to get not difficult shots. Honestly, the majority of the Red Bull goals this year have been inside the box. Outside of one or two from Lewis Morgan, it has been really primarily in tap-in areas. But that's where the Red Bull have been getting their bread and butter. So if I had to guess, if Aaron Long is not going to play, that's what I think the starting lineup is going to end up being.
Wow,
Is Tom Barlow available? I know he took a pretty, as their Twitter account said, a pretty serious knock to the head.
So he had a small gash on the side of his head, and in typical Tom Barlow fashion, I consider Tom Barlow to be the equivalent of a chicken running without his head cut off. Tom Barlow will literally run until both legs are broken, and I love it. His attitude definitely overcomes everything, because he doesn't care, because he will play hurt. But he got, I think, one or two liquid stitches. I think he got some liquid stitches on the side of his head. He had to get his jersey replaced because his jersey was drenched in blood. He didn't know he was bleeding. Like, for the record, he played, I think almost 2 minutes before the ref realized, oh, this dude is bleeding down the side of his face. He didn't realize he was bleeding, didn't feel it, and physically had to be pushed onto the ground from one of the Red Bull players, like, hey, stay. And he's like, what's wrong? Like, you could see him look at the player going, what's wrong? And then I'm bleeding. I love me some Tom Barlow. But yeah, you could see Ashley Fletcher, because Ashley Fletcher didn't get any minutes in the US Open Cup game, as well as we have one of our promoted guys from the RB2 squad, Ryan, scored on his act. He scored his first professional goal this last week. He seems to be a breath of fresh air at the striker position. Not the tallest, but extremely physical.
Okay, all right. Justin, what do you think? You think the lineup will stay the same for the Union?
I think I'm curious to see at Jim's press conference. Probably, I assume, probably gonna be tomorrow. What the status of Mikel Uwa? If he's not available, you also have a midweek game at home against Miami. You have a game on the road in Portland the following Saturday. So I think.
Did Jim speak last night, by the way?
He wasn't on the. He didn't travel with the team either.
No, I'm talking about did Jim talk to the media after yesterday's game?
Not that I can recall.
Right, I didn't hear anything. Just wanted to make
So
sure.
I'm sure tomorrow we'll probably get an
Should be a fun
update.
one.
I think obviously in net again, permanent marker, Andre Blake. No question. As always. Your back line is gonna be your usual. Kai, who came in for about 15 minutes or so yesterday. Jack and Jakob, who split halves yesterday, just kind of keep fresh. Nate got the rest, even I think he could have probably played a little. Your midfield four is not going to change. Brujo, thank God that the Open Cup is a separate competition because I thought he was pretty close to getting a red card yesterday. But it wouldn't have counted for MLS. So, hey, do each his own. Ali finally getting some rest. I mean, thank God. 34 years old and the man can still play, but
Yes, sir.
he also needs rest if you're going to have him at the tail end of the season. Leon Flock, for all I've said about his offensive side, his runs into the box have created havoc along back lines, and that's kind of what led to Daniel Gazdag's goal against LAFC was just throwing the numbers in the box and throwing the defense off. Daniel Gazdag at this point, despite having no respect from the national media, as I've said, 2 goals off the top of the Golden Boot race, probably I would say within shot of the MVP conversation at the moment. Playing the best. I think second season I said he was going to play pretty well, and up top, if Uwa's not available, I know I said things about him, but I think Corey would probably start next to the literal signing of the offseason, and someone who, if Ernst Tanner is smart, and that report of the buy option in that loan deal for the cut rate price of way less than $6 million is true, better trigger that in Julian Carranza. I don't know if JD or Matt have seen that goal against LAFC. The man was standing still and leaned backwards.
Yeah.
And just that thing was just.
I was sitting right here and watched it.
Chef's kiss, thing of beauty, just goddamn, holy shit. Listen, if you were not at least a little excited in more ways than one after that goal, you don't have a pulse, my friend. So I think you really can't. I don't think you should change the lineup because, yeah, you drew against LAFC, but you drew at LAFC. And for all this hype we're talking about this game, listen, we've talked about these games, and how many times has Matt come on here and I predicted 1-1, and the final score's been 1-1. So for all this hype, it could be a boring game. Who knows? That's the excitement of Union Red Bull. You literally never know what you're going to get.
You literally don't. I cannot wait for Tolkien versus Harriel.
The mullet versus the nice fade. That's what's the conflicting hairstyles.
Yeah.
2 young kids, and dude, they're going to be future parts of this league, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Tolkien,
now, Matt, is John Tolkien trying to join the wrestling? Is there a wrestling team on Red Bull? Or
I'm telling you right now, John Tolkien is just a little bit of energy I just don't understand. He is just the most unique. Because you got to remember, this kid came fresh out of high school, right into honestly, and kind of out of nowhere, basically. He came through the system. He did what he had to do, but he got an opportunity to play because we were thin at a position due to injury, and he kind of came on the scene and just made it his own. And yeah, everyone is going to be like, who the hell is the 17, 18-year-old kid with the feathered bleach blonde mullet?
Florida man energy with a North Jersey attitude.
You realize he shaved his head for a brief period of time, and the fans were mad because we're sitting here whoa. I don't like change. This isn't what I was here for. Okay, excuse me, bring it back. And he was like, oh shit, I guess I should bring this back. And immediately grew his hair right back out. And it's Apparently there is enough, like there's a huge wave of people to like trying to convince him to dye it red for the Derby game. I don't know, a feathered red mullet. I don't know if the world is ready for it.
That's just
Sounds like fun.
That's an angry little chicken.
Oh my god.
Just an angry rooster, an angry cock, if you will. Just very, very, very wild energy, and I don't know how I feel about that. That's
Mom, we should listen to Dude by the River. Awesome stuff.
family friendly entertainment.
Alrighty. So let's get to some predictions with some keys. So Matt, you're obviously our guest, but also the away fan here. So want to get your prediction, but also give us a key for victory for Red Bull here.
All right. I'll do my key to victory, and then I will do my score prediction. The key to victory, it's funny, and it literally comes down to being able to immediately take advantage of opportunities as they come. It's not a doubt, and I'm not here to boost you guys up because it's your podcast, and I like you guys, but the Philadelphia Union are one of the best teams in the MLS for a reason. They are coached well, the game plan is perfect, and they have the players to match. You are not going to get many opportunities to hit them on the press, get them to make a turnover, and execute. You might only get one or two, if not maybe three opportunities an entire game. You need to take advantage of your opportunities. If the Red Bull can clinically take advantage of those opportunities when they present themselves, they can be in this because I trust my defense. It's the offense creating those chances is what really leaves Red Bull fans kind of like sitting on their hands, hoping. But because the Red Bull did not rest their starters midweek and the Union did, I think this game will be a heavily possession game for the Union. I think the Union will have the opportunity. I think they'll have a few opportunities, but like I said, I do trust my defense. These games always live up to the billing of it is going to be two physical teams going at each other for 90 full minutes, and they will leave not one thing left on the field. This game is going to end 1-1 because that's just what these two teams do. These two teams are going to beat each other up. They're going to get a draw, and thank God it's the regular season, and I don't have to worry about 120th minute goals from outside the box.
Glasses! Oh, man,
I was right behind the goal for that.
I just looked.
I was too. In fact, I'm sure if you look, and I can probably share that photo. There is a photo of me, and you can. It's really easy to spot me going. Johnny's going nuts. Tim's pulling his phone out, and I'm just going fucking ballistic.
I brought a friend to that game, and he had never been to an MLS game before, but he's from like PA, so he wanted to go to a Union game, so I was like, let's go to this playoff game against the Red Bulls, and he's like, is that a big game? I'm like, yeah, it's a huge game. Sitting right behind the goal, he was electric for never seeing the Union play before. He was going crazy, and I was like, this is what it does. Like I was so excited for him, and I felt so bad for Matt in the stands right next to it, right next to the sports section.
The only thing I said, like the ball went in. Like honestly, the ball went in, and of course, everyone in our section is distraught. I just looked over to some random guy who I didn't know standing next to me. I go, it was a hell of a hit. Like it was. I mean, okay, here we go. Disappointed, sucks. It happens. But I'm sitting here like, what a hit. I mean, what am I going to do? Yeah, thank God. Thank God this ends at regulation and like 90 minutes and draws can happen because that's what these two teams do.
That's what they do. Did you give us a final score, Matt?
Oh, 1-1.
1-1.
The realist, let's be honest. How many times have we done that? And
it's a pretty safe bet. I mean, it's bound to happen.
Because I can't remember a time where, like, even when in the past where you guys might not have been as good or we might not have been as good, I don't ever remember a time where there was a multiple gap in the games have all of these our recent games have been decided by a goal. Like
it's been like 2017, I think it's like the last time I remember there being a multi-goal difference, and I think that was Union going to Red Bull in like September that year. Other than that, it's always a 1-goal game.
Yeah, it's family fun for all ages, right?
That is true. That is true.
Sure,
Uh,
one way of looking at it.
All right, JD, give us your key and your prediction for this match on Saturday.
I think where we were talking about the lineup before, I think I agree with all of you. Where the lineup is not going to change too much. We rested guys. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I love Alejandro Bedoya. I really do. I think he needs to start less games. You have a guy.
I've been saying that. So
you have a guy in Jack McGlynn that can control a midfield at his age. He can.
If you don't like JD's answer, message me and I'll give you his address.
Yeah, well, whatever. I live with my parents, so you know what. No, I think the lineup won't change. I think Ali will start, and that's fine. I think going forward, I think McGlynn, Sullivan, and Paxton Aronson should really get more game time than they are. And I think they got a lot of game time last season. They're not seeing it as much this season. But prediction for this game, I think the Union are in good form. I like we've said, like going away to LAFC, making it a really close game where maybe we should have won, but at the same time, a point in LA is not bad. Like that is not bad. And you kept Carlos Vela at bay. That's all you can ask for. He did nothing in that game. I mean, that says a lot about LAFC where they could still, perform without him. But he I don't think he did much in that game. Against the Red Bulls, I think we should win. I'm a little biased, of course, but I think we should win. I don't think it'll be a crazy win. I'm going to say a 2-1 victory, but I don't know. I think with Gazdag in the form he is, Carranza in the form he is, you could put Burke or Santos up there. I think Santos is more effective off the bench late game with his speed. I think the Union can make a statement in the league, being in first place, playing against the second place in the East. I think they can make a statement. So I'm going to go 2-1.
2-1. Okay. What about you, Justin? Give us a key in the prediction.
I think my key is, can Red Bull silence either Daniel Gazdag or Julian Carranza? And I say either because they've been combining a lot. Whether it's Gazdag simply feeding in Carranza and Carranza making his own pet play of it, or the biggest thing that Carranza has been able to do, and it's why you've seen a second year bump for Daniel Gazdag, is Carranza likes to come back and combine. And unlike Kasper Shaboko, he can actually stretch the field and after he combines, get up the field. And it is going to be an interesting test of similar styles because both teams don't like a lot of possession. The Union's possession numbers are typically usually rarely above 40%. So it's going to be interesting to see how it kind of differs. As Matt said, not either team really doesn't need many chances to put the ball in the back of the net. Despite all that, it's a Union Red Bull game. And I think at the end of the day, these games are, always a lot of bluster, and then the result. Sometimes, you're always left wondering, could there have been more? You're like, well, you're not mad, but you're like, it's you don't know how to feel. So I have been debating between a close win or a draw. I'm gonna say a 1-0 Union win.
1-0 Union.
I think realistically, if it's a draw, it's a 1-1 draw. But I think the Union at home have done well of getting a first half goal and then riding it and forcing the opponent to make more of the game. And if the Union force the Red Bull to possess more, and to try to take the game to the Union will pounce on the counterattack. The Union have been doing it all season.
Very smart.
And I think setting the pace early for either team will be one of the bigger keys to controlling the game. But yeah, I think 1-0. I don't feel more confident than one goal in a Union Red Bull matchup.
1-0. All right. So listen, one thing for sure, the emotions will be riding high. Obviously, the Red Bull after last year's playoffs, and of course for the Philadelphia Union, looking for to get a win, because obviously the last month we haven't seen a win. So especially after what happened yesterday, we're definitely gonna be looking for all 3 points on Saturday. Should be a lot of fun. Should be a typical Red Bull and Union match. It's going to be exciting. I'm sure Justin's going to be going crazy as well for that match. And, of course, the bonfire. The bull getting lit on fire should be a lot of fun in the SOB tailgate.
Fear the Red Bull.
But hey,
Fear the Red Bull.
We're showing pics. I sent Matt the
Yeah, I saw it. Was nice.
the photo of, as you can see clearly, my look on my face is just kind of one of just like, what do I do?
Does this set the stage as the New York Red Bulls and the Philly Union actually having a true rivalry now?
No.
JD, don't you know that at anytime
rivalries aren't cool anymore?
Yeah, rivalries aren't cool, and that if you outside of Matt, if you talk to most Red Bull fans and say, "Oh, there's a rivalry game," you'll get the "No, you're not a rival."
Yeah, that's every time I talk to Matt about this. He's like,
let me just say this. So
you were founded in 2010. Like, all right, well,
hold on.
You were not even the original founding team.
Hold on. So the way a big thing is like, I don't like manufactured rivalries. I don't like the fact that someone's
an energy drink.
Hold on. Just because they're close. I look at like how the Red Bull in Atlanta is a low-key rivalry, because for a very long, like for 3 or 4 years in a row, we were 1-2 with each other. We were fighting. That game was ESPN 7:00 on Saturday all the time, top pay-per-view action. If you look at what it's going with now, the Philadelphia Union are now consistently one of the best teams in the MLS. And honestly, that doesn't look like it's going to change in a very, very long time. You guys are good now, and you guys are building good for the future. The Red Bull are good now, and they are building good for the future. I think that this could turn into a really nice rivalry strictly on form. I'm talking about consistently being top teams in the MLS always going at each other. I think that's something that could build a rivalry on. Like, hey, because I'm telling you right now, whether people want to admit it or not, the Philadelphia Union is always something we look for on the calendar. So
that is true, and same here as well.
Let's be honest. Most teams in Atlanta are rivals just because Atlanta fans can piss people off.
Hold on.
Any team that plays in an NFL stadium can piss someone off.
Or I don't know. Ask Gabriel Heinze how he loves Philadelphia.
That's a very good point. All right, well, guys, listen, we are 20 minutes over, so we're gonna cut this short here. But I really, really want to thank the EPL boys for coming on here. They are a great duo. It's very entertaining, and ironically enough, they are a Red Bull and a Union fan, so it is definitely great. So in the descriptions, guys, we will put the links to find their podcast. If you are a Premier League fan, just give it a listen. It's some good stuff, so make sure you guys check them out. And we want to thank both of you guys for hopping on in tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. Fuck yeah.
Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for this episode of Dupe by the River. Make sure you guys hit the like button. You can Twitter podcast under Dupe by the River podcast. Of course, we have Matt Sia and JD Peters from the EPL boys. Of course, that is Justin El Portero Calvo Friedberg. And of course, I am El Parcero Philly.